Okay, previous classes we have discussed about what is NoSQL and what are the different types of databases. So we have the different kinds of databases like key value store, column oriented, document oriented, and graph oriented databases. So column oriented we have seen. Key value store means mostly the data will be stored as a key and value, like it is like a hash map. So it will be simple structure, it will be there for the key value store. And we have seen the column-oriented databases. So how the column-oriented databases will be there. So and we have discussed about the HBase. So HBase is related to Hadoop family, and it is a column-oriented databases. So how can insert the data? How can create the column families, columns, and how we can create the rows with the different columns. Uh, we have seen the how we can insert the data, how the architecture of the HBase. So we have seen about the HBase topics. So likewise, in column-oriented, we have the some more data, other databases called Cassandra. So Cassandra also column-oriented databases, but it will be having different architecture, but the for tables and column families, columns, it will be everything syntax almost similar like HBase, but both are for the column-oriented databases, but both we will use the different purposes. One is for if you want more reads instead of writes, we'll go for the HBase for more consistency, and Cassandra will go for the more availability instead of consistency. If you want more availability, and if you want more write and read also, if you want those more writes, we'll go for the Cassandra. So they will have the different advantages and disadvantages based on the our use case. We will go for the different databases. So that is about the column-oriented databases. So coming to document-oriented databases, uh, we can store the data as a document. Generally, we'll have the table data. It will be in RDMS tables. If you want to store the data like this document, we can store the documents. So whatever the data is there, if we want to store as a document, we can store the documents. So each record will call it as a document. So this document will have the different columns and different values we can maintain if you want. So this is the example how we can show the document oriented. So like this, we can store the data as a key value page. So MongoDB in document oriented databases, we can store the data like this. We can store the key value page directly. This data we can store directly, this kind of data. So in document oriented databases, we have the few popular databases, MongoDB and CouchDB. Uh, MongoDB introduced long back, and it is getting very popular under the document-oriented databases. So today we'll see how we can insert the data into MongoDB, how we can retrieve the data. So how can data as a key value page, we'll see. If you want to install the MongoDB, you can install in any one of the Red Hat or Ubuntu or Debian can install. So if you want to install into corresponding CentOS, we'll have the, if you go to the official site of the MongoDB, we'll have the different steps. So if you want to install in CentOS, we can install like sudo install on MongoDB. Then we need to set some properties like mongodb.conf. We need to read some etc.conf. MongoDB.conf, we need to do any, if you want to do any configuration, we can do the configuration there. So once you install and once you download and install, so this command itself, it will download and it will install the MongoDB Once we install, so we'll get this some files like etcm.com. Once we got installed, so then we can start the MongoDB by using this command sudo service mongodb.start. So if you want to stop, you can stop like this MongoDB. This is the if you want to start the MongoDB in multiple machines or single machine, we need to start the server. So that's why we'll start the MongoDB server. Once we started that one, we can directly access the MongoDB by using the command, by using the Mongo command. We can start the, we can connect it to database, and we can start the MongoDB shell, and we can start write the commands. We can create databases, and here we don't have the tables. In MongoDB we have the concept called collections. We can create the collections and we can insert the data into collections. We will see parallelly. Once you install the MongoDB and once you start it, so you can start by using the command mongo. So here we can execute show DBs. If you created any DBs, here it will show. So if you want to create any DB directly, you can use my DB, and it will switch it to database. So here, if you want to perform any operations in this database, you can perform the operations. If you want to see what is the current database, you can see DB means what is the current database we are using, you can see. If you want any help, we can call help. So in MongoDB, we don't have the concept called tables. We have the concept called collections. So if you want to create any, if you want to insert data, and if you want to insert the documents, so we need the collection. So before, if you want to insert any data, we need to create one. We need to create collection, or directly we can insert the data with the any one of the collection. So automatically the collection it will be created. Now I'm going to insert the these two variables. We'll see how we can insert. Simply we can j equal to this variable. I'm going to load this name dot mongo, and this variable I'm going to insert. So these two variables, if I want to insert, so I can insert both. So this is will treat as a one record. This will be treat as a one record. This is how we can insert the data. So this variable we can, this document we can have the multiple name Mongo is equal to something, or when created date. So if you want to add more key value pairs, we can add it. So if you want to insert that record, so simply we can call it as a db dot. This is the collection name. This is the insert for inserting the data. If we want to see what are the collections are exist like tables, you can see the here. So currently we'll have the text data, and this is the default system.index. If you want to find the data, if you whatever the data you have inserted, so if you want to retrieve the data, we can retrieve like this. So this is how we can insert the data. So this record will have the name equal to Mongo. This record will some x equal to 3. So whatever the columns we won't bother. So if you want to get the record, we can get the record. or if you want to get the by using name, you can get the name. So if you want to get any kind of data, you can call it like this, and whatever the column if you want, suppose like name.mongo. So if you call it, we'll get the record. So whatever the data is exists, that data it will come. So if the data is not exist in any one of the column, so we won't get the any data. So likewise, if we want to get the any field data, we can retrieve like this. So this is how we can insert the data into MongoDB as a documents. If we want to insert, we can insert the different documents. We can insert the data, and we can retrieve the data. If you want to insert the data bulk, if you want to insert the data like this, for loop also we can execute, and loops also we can execute, and we can insert the data. And if you call text.find, so we will get the data like this. So like this we can insert the data, whatever data if you want, we can insert the data as a document. So under if you want to insert the data, we need to insert the data under collection, we need to insert the data. So generally if you want, we can perform the MongoDB card operations. So like create, insert, create, read, update, and delete. So generally the MongoDB stores the data in the form of docs. So each record in collection will consider as a document. So which are JSON like field and value pairs. So documents are unlocked programming language, and we'll have the generally key with the values. We'll have the data like this. Now suppose if I want to insert the data like this, name, name, age, and status, group. So if you want to insert the data, directly I can call the db.employee.insert, and directly I can pass the data. So like this we can insert the different kinds of records, we can insert the data. Suppose if you want to find the age greater than 18 and short age equal to 1. So if you want to perform the like this, only if you want to greater than 18, if you want the add, so we can perform the operations like this. If you want to like select a query, if you want to do any operations, you can perform like db.user.find. Whatever the conditions, if you want to perform age, and if you want to perform any short, so we can perform the operations like this. And if you want to perform the like if you want to create, if you want to perform the operations like data modifications, we can perform like this. If you want to insert any kind of data, we can modify. So likewise, if you want to insert the more documents, you can insert like this. So directly, if you want to insert the record, whatever we are discussing. So if you want to insert some any one of the item details, and directly you can execute like this. Now if we want to find the, then instead of the text data, we can call it as a inventory. So we will get the all the data, whatever the key value page we have inserted. You can see the all the page. So we can see the for every document we'll call it as a record, we'll call it as a document. So every document will have the unique ID. So based on this unique ID only we'll get the document. So for this document we'll have the item and particular details, whatever the we have stored. So we'll get all the details as a key value page. So internally we can maintain the one key, we can maintain the sub key value page also. If we want, we can maintain. If we want to maintain the array also, we can maintain the array also, we can maintain. So like this we can insert the data. And if we want to review the inserted document, we need to find the db.inventory.find. So then we'll get the data like this. And if you want to insert the array of documents, we can insert like this. So simply we can create one variable. In this variable, if you want, we can create the item name, details, stock market, category. So here if you observe, so if you want to add any one of the columns, suppose this is the one document. So this document, if I don't want this category, so then I can remove. And if you want to add one more key value pair here for this record, I can add. So dynamically I can maintain the different kinds of columns for each record. So that facility also they are providing. So documents, whatever the data we have in single document, we can insert. So with the different columns and different column names and different columns, we can insert the data. So if we want to insert the different documents, we can insert. So like this, we can insert the data. Now we'll see how we can insert the different documents. Directly we can execute here. And we'll call it as this document. So the data we have written, if you find it, so we'll have the different items, ABC1, ABC2. So like this we can insert the different documents. So whatever the data is there, the data it will be like this documents. So directly whatever the data we have a key value page, we can insert the data. So if you want to insert the multiple records, bulk operations also, if you want to perform, we can perform bulk insert. We'll have the different options for the bulk execute also, we'll have different options. And whatever the data we have inserted, if you want to query, we can use like this inventory.find. So empty query document selects all the documents in the collection. So if you want to retrieve the data, if you want to retrieve data, you can call it as a db.inventory.find, you can call it, or if you want to call, so simply empty braces, we can call it. Both are same, so we can call it. And if you want to specify like any type equal to snacks, so we have the inserted different kinds of data we have inserted earlier. I think this property it is not there, and we'll go for the another option like size equal to M. If you want to get the whatever the size we have inserted, size with medium or small, you can check for any option. 1 minute. So like this, if you want inventory.find, if you want to get the item, or if you want to get the data with other category equal to clothing. So if you want to retrieve the data like this, we can retrieve the data. If you want to get the data with the category clothing. So we have the whatever the data with category clothing, you can get the all the records. And if you want to get the data with another category, we can simply by executing changing this value, we can get the all the data. So like this, if we want to retrieve the data, we can retrieve the data. So similar way, if you want to perform any multiple values, if you want to perform, we can perform. And if you want to test for any food, and if you having any conditions like price less than, so R condition, if you want to perform R condition, we can perform. So in find, if you want to perform the different operations, quantity greater than, price less than. So how we can perform the select star from where equal to greater than less than. So where conditions, if you want to perform, we can perform the like this, we can perform. Suppose if you want to get the sub fields, sub values, if you want to get, so directly we can call it is like this. So then if you want to retrieve the data, we can retrieve. Okay, if you want to find the sub, if you want to get the inner values also, we can like this producer dot. So if you find like this, so we can get the inner values also, we can get. Match and field with the embedded document. So now if you want to find the data like this item equal to ABC1, so directly we can simply, if you call it as item and ABC1, we can get. Suppose if you want to get the inner values like this, details.model, if you want to get. So one way of getting the value is so like this. So detail.model. So we'll get the whatever the model with 14Q3. We'll get the all the models with this model, and we'll get. So we'll have the 3 records. So we'll get the 3 records. Whatever the records it is there, it's matching this one, we'll get. Suppose if you want to get with other model, like we'll have the Q2. So then we'll get only 1 record. So whatever it is matching this thing, so we will get the data. So like this, so whatever the data if you want to insert, we'll insert as a like documentation documents we'll insert. Similarly, if you want to search the data, you can search the data. So what is the advantage of this MongoDB means? So we can maintain the documents with the different kinds of data. We can maintain the documents. So in real time, we will get the data like the different values and different columns. We will get the data. Suppose if you want to insert all the documents, if you want to insert, we can insert as a bulk document. Suppose if you have the all this information in one big file, if you want to insert the bulk load, we can insert the bulk load. From that, if you want to search the data, so whatever the unsearchedly the data is there. So if you want to retrieve the data simply by using query like this, so whatever the data if you want to get, so if you call it is like this, so we will get the data. So by using that corresponding keys, so we will get the whatever the data it is matching, so we will get the data from the that one. So here if we observe, we are not maintaining the any schema kind of tables. So whatever the data if you want to insert the collection, we can insert, and or retrieving also we can retrieve. So if the data is whatever the conditions you are making, if it is satisfied, so corresponding the records it will be shown. Other records it won't show. So here if you observe, so whatever the full document if you want to get the based on some conditions you can get, and similarly if you want to get the some whatever the item if you want to fields, if you want to fields data if you want to get, you can get the data. So this is how we can search for the arrays and matching an array. So similarly, if you want to modify the documents, we can modify the documents by using this update. So if you want to perform the any operations, we can search, we can search, and if you want to set any values, we can set. So similarly, how we can call it a update in SQL. Similarly, but the syntax will be changed. We don't have the SQL queries here, so we'll have the different syntax for searching the record and updating the record. So if you want to update any record, simply we can call it as update, and if it is matching the record, so then it will change the data, whatever the item it will having with the ABC. So previously the model is 14Q3, now I have updated to 14Q2. So previously we got only one record while searching with Q2, now we got two records. So we have updated by matching the item, whatever the conditions, if you want to key value base, if you want to check, and we can, if we want to set the data, we can set the data. So this is how we can matching different conditions. Also, if you want to match, we can perform the match and we can update the data. Similarly, if you want to upset means, so if the data is not there, it will insert, and if the data is already exists, so it will insert the it will update the record. So that is the upset means. So if the data is already not exist, so then it will insert. So if the data is already exists, so simply it will update the whatever the data if you want to update, it will update. So that is called upset. So corresponding to this record, if we don't have the this item TBD1, so then what it will do means it will insert. So if the data is already exists, so then simply it will be update. That is called upset. So currently we don't have the record with TBD1, so that's why it is inserted the record. So if you observe, so new record is inserted. So that is the upset. So if the data is already exists, then it will update the current record. So like this, we'll have the different options. Go through this one. I will share this link, so you can go through this link and you can try to practice. And if you want to remove any documents by matching the any conditions like type equal to food. So if you want to delete the records, you can delete the records. Okay, this is how we can insert and how we can retrieve the data, how we can modify and remove the documents. So like this, we can insert the data as a document. So whatever the data if you want, so instead of the div mesh, so we can if you have the data is the documents key value page, so whatever the data, employees data or any stock data, any kind of data, if you have the any purchases kind of information, if you have directly, we can insert the data. And if you want to find the queries, we can write the queries. This is the how we can execute the commands from the command line. Similarly, if you want to perform the same operations from the programs also, we can do it by Java or any other programs. If you want to do it, we can do it. So similarly, if you want to interact with the any kind of applications, we can interact with applications. Till now, as of my knowledge, this MongoDB they are using for the web applications. Suppose if you have the lot of forms in the any kind of website or web applications, So if you have the lot of forms with the different fields and different columns and dynamic fields and dynamic columns, if you want to maintain that one instead of the RDMS. So RDMS, it is very difficult to maintain the database design if you have the different columns and dynamic forms. So by using MongoDB, we can easily maintain that kind of things. So if you want to for each form, if you want to provide the different kinds of fields and different uh, kinds of values, if you want to maintain, so we can easily maintain. So multiple columns and multiple rows, if you want to maintain, we can maintain. So like this. So the MongoDB they are using for the website applications forms with the different fields they are using. Currently in my application also we are using for the, we have one web application. So in that we will have the different kinds of forms we'll have, and if you want to create multiple parameters, if you want to pass, we can pass multiple parameters. We can pass. So for that purpose we are using. Suppose if you have the form with the multiple parameters, if you want to pass the parameters, I can create the multiple parameters, and in web application I have the add row. So I can add more rows, and for that purpose it will be very useful. This one is MongoDB. So based on our use and our need only, we need to go for the particular database. Uh, we'll have the lot of databases, but in these databases we have some kind of particular popular databases are there. So in that, the in document oriented MongoDB is popular databases. So this is once we have installed the MongoDB. So if you want to insert the records or if you want to get the data, so you can practice it. So most of the installation and so most of the admins will do. If you want to interact with any kind of data queries, so through command prompt we can write the queries for inserting the data, and if you want to find, and similarly if you want to count the number of records, we can count. I think we'll have some methods like count also will be there, but here I don't have. Yes. So how many records are there? So we can like this. So how many records are there in particular inventory? You can call it as a count. And if you want to print only the limit, so if you want to print the only one record, I think we can call it as like this, limit one. So then it will only give the one record. So like this, we'll have the different options for the finding, getting the data. So main advantage of this MongoDB is, so MongoDB is one of the NoSQL databases, and it is column-oriented databases. Sorry, it is MongoDB is document-oriented databases. So we can store the documents directly, and it will provide the distributed also. It will provide. So whatever we are doing, so till now we are seeing single mission. So if needed in multiple missions, we can maintain the multiple shards. So shard means we can maintain as a partition. So whatever the data we are inserting, so if you want to insert the data as a distributed, we can insert the data as distribution fashion. We can insert the data. So this is all about the MongoDB. So till now we have seen the previous class we have seen HBase column-oriented databases, and we have seen now MongoDB document-oriented database. So this is the different kinds of databases, and now we'll see how the graph-oriented databases, will be there. We'll see. So coming to graph-oriented databases, so we'll have the whatever the data will like tables and fields. We'll have the data as the nodes, relations, and properties. We will insert the data like node, properties, and node can contains the properties, and relations can contain the properties. This is how the data it will be like this. So generally, why we are going for this graph-oriented databases? So if you have the more connected data, if you want to perform the more joins, then the graph database will be, graph search will be the very fast, and traversing through graph is very fast. So that's why the graph oriented database is very popular for the connected data. And if you observe the Facebook search top side left corner, so we can see the one graph search box. So for that also they are using one graph databases. So they are Facebook are using Giraffe database. So they have created the database and they are using that database. So in this graph databases, we have one popular database called Neo4J, that is open source. And I think they have the different kinds of versions like community version and enterprise version. But maybe for enterprise versions, they will provide some support kind of thing, and we need to, and companies needs to pay some money for the enterprise. And community version is free, so we can perform all the commands, whatever the commands if you want to perform, you can perform the commands. So if you go to official site of Neo4j, so we can see the Neo4j, can see the what is graph databases. We'll have the like this. We'll have the nodes, labels, and relationships and properties. We'll have the different kind of things. So node can contains the labels, and node are organized by the relationship, which also have properties like this. If you want to traverse, we need to traverse like this graph. We need to by specifying the paths, we can specify the path. So whatever the data we will store, the data it will as a nodes, relations, and the properties. Like this only the whatever the data we are inserting. So this database it will be there. So once if you have inserted the Neo4j, we can access the like this local host, whatever the host, can access the 7474 we can access. If you want to install the Neo4j, simply we can get the Neo4j whatever the we'll get the zip file. So like this we'll get the zip file. We can get for the Windows or Linux we can get. Once you extract it, we'll get the bin folder, conf, data, lib. So we'll get the files like this. If you want to do any configurations, we can do it in conf folder. And if you want to start the Neo4j, so we can start this bad files will be there. If you install in Linux, we'll have the sh files. We can start by starting this command. So once you started, we need to specify where the data it will be stored into. So this path only, whatever we are creating nodes, the properties, everything it will be stored into this. So once you started the install and once you started, so you can access the Neo4j thing by using the 7474 property. We can see it. So once you connected to this 7474 property, we'll get like this Neo4j, and here we'll have the different labels, node labels, we'll have the different relationships, and we'll have the different properties we'll have. And we'll see one example how the movie database they are providing. So if you want to create the nodes, we need to use the commands like this: create whatever the properties if you want to specify, the movie name and what is the title and what is the year. So we can create like this. So while creating the node, if you want to provide any properties, we can provide the properties. So properties we can provide the different properties we can provide for the single node. And if you want to maintain the relations, so then we need to create the different relations. We need to like this, we need to create the relations. So generally the graph databases will be like this, the graph databases will be there. So here if you observe, so the generally whatever the commands we executed, so like this the nodes will be created and relations. So generally for movie we are providing who is the actor and which movie they have acted. So like this we can maintain the relations. So whatever the relations if we want, we can create the relation. And if you want to fetch the data, simply will have the like match will have, and whatever the node if you want, we can get the nodes, and relations if you want to specify relation we can specify. So once you specify the like this, so we'll get the simply within seconds or milliseconds we'll get the data, whatever the data if you want to search. So instead of performing the more joins, simply writing the simple query, you can get the connected data. So like this, if you want to get the match actor, we can get the data. So now here, if you want to execute this movie graph, so simply go through here. If you want to practice, they will provide some example how you can insert movie data into the graph. So we'll provide the some commands how you can create. So if you want to maintain the relation, so whatever the movies you have created, if you want to provide the relations, we can provide like this: acted in, directed in, produced. So if you want to provide like this, so we can maintain the relations. We can maintain. So whatever we have executing in Neo4J, these queries we will call it as a cipher queries. So if you want to insert the data and retrieve the data, we need to get by using the cipher queries only. We need to insert the data and we need to get the data. So similarly, if you want to find any match condition, so like this, we can fetch the data. So we'll see how the persons will be there. So this person's data, it will be like this. So we can maintain the properties for each node. This is the name and when he born. So like this, we can maintain the different nodes. So if it is having any properties, so we'll have the properties like this. This contains. So if you observe here, this person acted in this movie. So similarly, for this movie, we can see the different relations: acted, directed. So we can see. So if you click on the node, so you'll get the person details, and if you check the here, so we'll get the movie details we can get. Similarly, what is the roles? If you have the, if you want to create any properties for the particular relation, we can maintain the like this. So like this, we can maintain the nodes. So it is very easy. Suppose if you want to get the particular movie, if you want to get the who directed or who produced or who acted, so simply by using simple query, no need to provide the more joins. Simply executing whatever the commands if you want to write, so we can get the like this match and where condition if you want to do, if you want to perform the any actor name if you want to get, and if you want to perform the relation. Suppose if you want to get the who acted like this, so we can get the like this. If you want to get, we can get. Suppose if you want to get the so names, if you want to get, we can get the directly, and if you want to get this like this, we can get the graph also. We can, if you want to get, we can get the graph also. We will get. Currently it is not showing. So if it is matching the corresponding graph, so we can see the graph also. So whatever the records if you want to maintain or if you want to get the data, we can see nodes and properties we can see. Suppose if you want to get the any kind of this kind of thing we want to get, you can see. So like this we can get the graph. If you want to see as a table the result, name and born, you can see. And similarly if you want to see like a graph, you can see the graph. So this is the how we can connect the data. If you want to store as the nodes, relations and properties, we can maintain easily. Suppose if you want to get the any kind of movie and this movie acted, simply we will write the query like this. We can we can perform the operations like so whatever the query, if you want to perform relations, if you want to maintain, so we can maintain the relation. So simply writing this match condition, active, directed. So directly it will travels through graph, and within seconds we'll get the data. So this is the why, how we can use the graph databases. What is the node, relation, and property. So like this we can maintain whatever the queries we can easily search. So within within seconds or milliseconds we'll get the data. So whatever the connected data if you want to get, so we'll get the data. So this is the advantage of Neo4j. So we can maintain the nodes, relations, and properties. And if you want to get the data by using, we'll have the different syntax for the insert the data and insert the nodes, relations, and properties. Similarly, if you want to retrieve the data, we'll have the different syntax for matching the nodes and relations. And Neo4j will have the internally we'll have the whatever the queries we write, we'll call it as cipher queries. We need to execute the cipher queries for the inserting the data and retrieving the data. So based on the requirements only, we need to go for the different kinds of databases. So if you want to get into company, if you have the idea about the any one of the databases, it will be good. So mostly they will asking for the HBase or Cassandra, MongoDB or the Neo4j databases. So if you have the idea, or if you have working experience on any kind of databases, it will be good. So concepts will be for each kind of if you have the if you have experience on the any kind of databases, then we can alternate other databases we can easily work on. Suppose if you have the idea about the any kind of graph databases, same concepts it will be in another databases also, but maybe it will be some architectural change or some query syntax maybe change will be there, but concepts will be same for the all kind of graph databases, and all kind of document-oriented databases will have the uh, same kind of things will be there. So these are the different kinds of databases. We'll have the popular databases, NoSQL databases. These are the some of the databases we have seen earlier. So we'll have the HBase, MongoDB, Neo4j, Cassandra. So if you have experience on any kind of database in column-oriented databases, other databases also mostly similar kind of concepts will be there. Column family and columns in the column-oriented databases. In document we'll have the collections and the how we can DB collections and how we can insert the data. So same things it will be there, but syntax may be little bit it will be changed for the all kinds of documents. So document oriented databases, MongoDB and CouchDB is popular databases. And graph databases will have the different kinds of Neo4j, Infinite Graph, and some other databases are there. On Facebook graph search, they are using the Giraffe database. So the concepts will be same, nodes, properties, and relations are same, but how they will use the syntax will be little bit change will be there. Uh, so these are the introduction about what are the different kinds of databases will be there. What is the uses of the different databases? So why the NoSQL database are getting popular these days means because of distribution and schema-less. We can store the real-time data. It is not getting as a structured format, rows and columns. It is getting in different formats. We are getting the data like a connected data. We are getting as a data as a different columns. We are getting, and we are getting the data as a documents like JSON and some other format key value pairs. We are getting the data. So if you want to store the different kinds of data and as a distributed fashion and schema-less data, so RDMS databases are not suitable, and that's why they are introducing the lot of NoSQL databases. So these databases you will get the experience on by using the handling the different kinds of use cases, different kinds of projects. Then only you will get the more experience on these databases. And from interview point of view and from experience point of view, uh, get into company. So if you have the knowledge or basics about any kind of databases, if you have, it will be good. So it will be advantage, and your profile will have more weight if you put the any kind of databases like HBase, Cassandra, MongoDB, and Neo4J. And yesterday I have provided some materials regarding these NoSQL databases, and I have provided material related to HBase and Cassandra. And today I will provide the material related to MongoDB and Neo4j. Go through that material, so you will get more points and more syntax and different concepts. What is inside the concept? You will get more details about these databases. Okay, this is all about the NoSQL, different kinds of databases, and the what is the use of the different databases. So if you want to get more details, go through the corresponding the books which I have provided. So then you will get the more details. Okay, thank you all.